Idea of a budget is a scarcity mindset. It means we're trying to shrink our monthly things. We're trying to budget for things, whatever. What I think it's important to do is to have a monthly profit and loss statement. And what I mean by that is you have to measure what's coming in from inputs, from income, for cash flow, and what's going out. What is our lifestyle cost? And from that point in time, when you know where you want to go, when you know what you want to accomplish, you know you can then measure and maybe cut some things out, or maybe reprioritize where your assets are going. It's no different than with a business. Yes, you want to grow your business. I think everybody that starts a business has the goal of growing a business. Hey, what's going on, cash flow hackers? It's Chris with Life 180. In this video, we're going to be talking about the 4 habits that you need to be prosperous in any economy. So I don't think it's going to be hard to understand the importance of this video. And one of the reasons that I'm filming this video is because look at the world that we're in now. At the time I'm filming this, we're going through a little bit of what I would call like a bear market bump in the economy. The market dropped significantly. We've had about a 20% bump in the last month. I still think that we're in a lot of danger. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of unknowns. And when we look at inflation, when we look at the recession, when we look at the political uncertainty over the next couple of years, I think what we need to do is we need to be prepared for anything that the world throws at us. And that's why I'm putting this video together for you right now. So what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that as I'm going through these 4 things that you're really paying attention, taking notes, and that you think about how deeply and how intentionally are you being about implementing these things to make sure that you are prepared no matter what happens in the economy. If the market keeps going up, you're going to be okay. If the market takes a dive, you're going to be sitting there waiting for the opportunities that are presented to you. So let's get into this. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to pay yourself first. It is really easy to just kind of fall into the trap of just having the cash flow come in, having all that money get allocated to our bills and expenses and credit card payments and maybe lifestyle stuff and stuff of that nature. But the bottom line is we need to take at least 10% of every dollar that comes into our life, pay ourselves first, make sure that we're putting that into both an emergency fund and an opportunity fund. Now, I didn't make it one of the 4 habits because it's not really a habit. It's more of an actual function that you need to do. You need to pay off your toxic debt. That needs to be done. I'm not disputing that. I'm not saying all debt is bad. In fact, I'm a big proponent of leveraging debt in the right way if it's the right kind of debt. But I want to make sure that you don't have a lot of toxic consumer, high interest debt that's more typically associated with credit cards, or if you've got maybe a car loan or something of that nature with a subpar credit rating. Those are the types of debts that you want to eliminate on depreciating assets as we get into the uncertain times that are coming in the future here in the next couple of years. And so paying yourself first is going to build the habit of when money comes in, I know that I need to prepare for emergency and I need to prepare for opportunity. It's like when you go on a flight, I got a flight in a couple hours. When you go on that flight, the first thing that the flight attendant will always tell you is, in case of emergency, the oxygen masks are gonna drop from the ceiling. What's the first thing you do? You may wanna help your kid right next to you, but you gotta put the mask on yourself first, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of the people around you. And that is just the way it is. And so pay yourself first. I know a lot of people have big hearts and they want to do a lot of big things, but if you can't take care of yourself first, you're not going to be able to really make the greater impact in the world that you want to make. So that's number 1. Make sure that you are paying yourself first. So the second habit is literally just being intentional about life. And I know that sounds really vague, but there's something that I think is really important. It's one of the things I'm actually in the process of creating a day planner for life insurance agents because of the fact that I think living intentionally is so important. It's one of the reasons my company is called Life 180. Life is an acronym, living intentionally for excellence. And then the other acronym is leading into financial excellence. If you look at both of those, it's LIFE. The 180 is about, the fact is, most people are not happy with the results they're getting in their personal life and their financial life and their business life. And so we gotta be living differently. And if we live intentionally, we can actually intentionally create the results in our life that we wanna do. I'm a big believer that we have to focus on the inputs and not so much the outputs in life. Now, the outputs are the scoreboard. We gotta focus, like how we're doing financially is a scoreboard. It's gonna be the measuring stick, the barometer, so to speak, long term to tell us if what we're doing is actually working, right? But what we need to do is focus on the activity, focus on the inputs. And if we're intentional every single morning about what we're doing every single day, and if we're starting off by journaling, if we're starting off by looking at what our day is looking like, if we're prioritizing the important things first and not getting stuck in the mundane and the minutia, and it's that Jim Collins, you got to sacrifice good for the great. And if we want to accomplish great things, and if you want to be able to thrive and prosper in any economy, you have to have that mindset. You got to be intentional about how you're showing up every single day, how you're executing, what you are trying to accomplish. And because the other thing, Stephen Covey said in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, if you want to be successful, you got to know where you're going, have clarity on where you're going, reverse engineer a plan to get there, and only then can you be successful. And so my encouragement to you is being intentional about how you show up every single day, not just with your money, but with your habits. But what you're gonna find is the more intentional you are with how you show up in your personal life, with your relationships, with your wife, your spouse, your kids, your business partners, your clients, when you're more intentional in those ways, it's gonna have this spillover effect that's gonna have a positive impact on your finances. All right, so the third habit that you want is you wanna make sure you have a monthly P&L. This goes back to the intentional living component in number 2 here. When I say have a monthly P&L, what I'm really talking about is having a budget. But let me put it this way. I don't wanna use the word hate. I always tell my 11-year-old, don't use that word. Hate is a really strong word. So the one thing that I will say is that I'm not a fan of the word budget, because the idea of a budget is a scarcity mindset. It means we're trying to shrink our monthly things. We're trying to budget for things, whatever. What I think it's important to do is to have a monthly profit and loss statement. And what I mean by that is you have to measure what's coming in from inputs, from income, for cash flow, and what's going out. What is our lifestyle cost? And from that point in time, when you know where you want to go, when you know what you want to accomplish, you can then measure and maybe cut some things out, or maybe reprioritize where your assets are going. It's no different than with a business. Yes, you want to grow your business. I think everybody that starts a business has the goal of growing a business. With our personal life, we want to grow and expand our ability, our potential, and everything in our personal life as well. So I would encourage you to stop thinking about a monthly budget and start thinking about a monthly P&L the same way as any entrepreneur, any business owner would. And when you are intentional about that, the habit here is getting in there and spending 60 to 120 minutes, so 1 to 2 hours every single month inside of your P&L, being intentional about reconciling what happened this month. Where did my money go? Where can I invest more of my time and resources to get better returns? What's creating the results in my life? What relationships are creating the result in my life? I find it interesting when you are intentional about looking at the numbers. I'm a big metrics and analytics guy. So when I look at the numbers, you can look at that, and oftentimes the numbers will tell us, well, what are the relationships that led to those numbers? And so now we can focus on these things a little bit more. And sometimes it's the intangibles, the things that you can't measure, you'll notice, like, hey, I spent more time with my family. My wife and I were just talking literally last night. I'm going on this trip for the week here shortly, and I unplugged for the whole weekend, which for me, by the way, it's extremely hard to do. So I unplugged for the whole weekend. I have business partners. I kind of just said, hey, I'm gone, I'm out. I'm spending time with my wife and kids. I've just been gone for 4 or 5 days. I'm leaving for the next 4 days. I've got these 2 days. I'm being really, really intentional with my wife and with my kids. They need that time. I want to spend that time. And it wasn't just about my wife and making her happy, or my kids and making them happy. It's about me. I know that I get recharged by spending that time with them there. And if I go and just burn the candle at both ends and just go hard charging without disconnecting and recharging and spending that time intentionally with my wife and with my kids, I know that I'm not going to be as effective in what I'm trying to accomplish with my business, with my partners, with the projects that I'm working on, because I'm going to have this sense of guilt and this sense of like incompleteness that kind of follows me around. So I need to make sure that that's part of my life. And so what I mean is, when we're intentional and when we have a monthly P&L, we can kind of look back at the numbers, and we can associate, and when we're journaling every single day as to what we're doing and what we're prioritizing, what we're spending our time in, you're gonna start to see these correlations. And sometimes the actions don't make sense with the numbers, but what's gonna happen is because you're being intentional every day, when you spend that hour to 2 hours at the end of the month looking at your P&L, you're gonna be able to associate on a micro basis, day in, day out, what led to those results. And so that is my real encouragement to you. If you're not journaling every day and you are not doing a monthly P&L, you need to start now. So the fourth habit that you need is you need to surround yourself with like-minded people. Now, this is probably one of the most important components because I've done so much self-development. I've spent literally tens of thousands of dollars on coaching, masterminds, self-development groups, events, stuff of that nature. Everybody's done this. It's anybody who has done this and spent money on these masterminds and events and groups and whatnot knows the feeling of going to an event, getting all hyped up, and then coming home and feeling like you're on an island and feeling like nobody around you knows or relates to anything that you're going through. And so it's really easy. Have you ever heard of the expression, the crabs in the bucket, right? Like if you've never done that, growing up in Vermont and near the coast of Maine, people would take these crabs and we'd go down to Portland, Maine, and they'd put these crabs in a bucket and they'd have these just piles of crabs. And you notice they never had to put a lid on the bucket. Why did they not have to put a lid on the bucket? Because these crabs could just crawl out. What's funny is you'd see these crabs get to the top and crawl. What would happen is the crabs down below would grab the crab that was crawling out and pull them back in. That's it. You go to an event, you feel like you could shoot to the moon, you feel super excited, you feel like the lid has been lifted off your bucket and the sky is the limit. When you go home, what happens is most people are surrounded by crabs. Family members, people that don't understand what you're going through, people that don't necessarily have the faith or know what you're trying to accomplish. You want to surround yourself with people who have the same vision, who share the same mindset, who have the belief and the faith that you can be successful in what you're doing. Don't surround yourself with crabs that are going to try to pull you back into the world where you are right now. The reality is what got you where you are right now is not going to get you where you want to go. You need to get to another level, and typically the thing holding people back from getting to that next level is not the what. There's a great book called Who Not How, and it's not what you need to do to get you where you want to go. It's who you need to surround yourself with that's going to get you where you want to go. So those are the 4 things that you need to do if you want to be able to thrive and be successful in any economy. If you have any questions, comment in the comment section below. Make sure, if you haven't already, follow the channel, hit the bell, that way you're subscribed and get notified every single time I launch a new video. Till next time, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon. See ya.